No, it's not done.
Don't overcook it. Overcook it's no good. It defeats its own purpose. What are you doing? I just said don't overcook it. You're overcooking it. Bring it over.
You want your steak?
Bring it over. Bring it over. It's like a piece of charcoal. Bring it over here.
You want your steak?
Yeah, right now.
Good. There's your steak. Can't wait for this to be done.
No, I can't wait.
Good. Okay? Happy? Happy?
That's all I want.
Here. No more. There.
You buying me about a steak? Huh? You buying me about a steak?
All right. We got audio, we got video. What's going on, bigots? All right. Here we go. Reddit Battalion checking in. Marvel Universe dwellers. Metaverse. Coom Pod enjoyers. Here we go. Let's make sure we live on YouTube, live on Rockfin. There we go. Got Jethro, loyal mod Jethro. What's going on, Jethro? Up in the chat. Cobry, Robert Chu on YouTube. What's up, everybody? How you guys doing? It's getting crazy out there in clown world. It's getting more clownish every day in clown world. We're live on YouTube. We're live on Rockfin as well. If you're watching on YouTube, take note. The second half of this will be exclusive to Rockfin. Second half of this gonna be a little too hot for YouTube. In fact, the first half of this might be might be a little too much for YouTube. But hey, we gotta give the YouTube crew some love. So we'll try to stick around as long as we can. But we will be transitioning over to Rockfin, where we can speak our minds, where we can speak the truth, where there is not ridiculous and absurd level of censorship as there is on the YouTube. We got a crazy topic to talk about today. We're gonna start out light though. We're gonna get into the heavier stuff later on. We're talking WW3. You know, I mean, thank God we're not in an open hot war, World War III right now. but it does seem like the situation is, if certain people get their way, we'll say it this way: if certain forces get their way, if the demons get their way, then they will escalate the situation in the Ukraine into a global World War III level conflict. Nobody wants this. Well, nobody watching this wants this, hopefully. Nobody enjoys knowing that people are being brutally and senselessly murdered. Right? But we should take a step back, though, and realize that there are many conflicts happening now and in the years leading up to this that no one really seemed to care much about. Right? I mean, you have Syria. You have Syria, first of all, which has been popping off for a long time now. Not hearing a peep about the civilian casualties there. Not hearing anything from mass media. I mean, you know, some of us are talking about this, and there are many voices who have been very vocal about the issues around Syria, but not hearing a peep from mainstream media about that. You're not hearing any lamenting over Libya, over Gaddafi, right? You know, this talk about war crimes. Now, what happened in Libya? What happened with we came, we saw, he died, and you know, Hillary Clinton's demon cat. What happened to that? We're not seeing much outrage about that. Of course, we're in an age of selective outrage, very selective outrage these days. All right, we'll start out with this one. This was sent to me by a buddy of mine. Actually, shout out to Choq, CHOQ.com. This was actually sent to me by our buddy over at Choq. Choq, solid company. If you want to support yourself, support your own health, and support good quality companies, family-owned businesses like Choq. Boost that T, get your testosterone, get your hormones balanced out, get up on that daily for the dudes out there. The daily, I love it. I take the daily every day. It's got that purified shilajit, the Mucuna pruriens extract. Actually, that one's very underrated. The Mucuna extract that's in that formulation in the Choq daily. Mucuna actually helps to sensitize dopamine receptors, which so many of us, from this constant onslaught of propaganda and from crappy lifestyles and addictions, have had our dopamine receptors straight up frizzle fried. So yeah, it's got that Mucuna extract, the cacao extract in there, and then also the tribulus extract to get that T level up. Also got the Tomcat. So shout out to Choq.com. If you use that code right there, BIG50, right? That code BIG50 is going to get you 50% off store-wide at Choq.com. Shout out to Choq for, well, that was a great reminder to plug the homies, the sponsors over there, right? 50% off store-wide, CHOQ.com. Use that code BIG50. Or, little secret, you can use BIG53 Life. BIG53 Life to get 53% off any subscriptions for life. But they sent me this. Owner of Choq sent me this image. I thought this was just absolutely fascinating. So we had Facebook the other day say that we will temporarily allow war posts urging violence against Russians. Reuters reported on this. Meta platforms will allow Facebook and Instagram users in some countries to call for violence against Russians and Russian soldiers. Oh, not just Russian soldiers, but Russians. How interesting. In the context of the Ukraine invasion, according to internal emails seen by Reuters on Thursday. So, great job over there from Facebook. You know, they're so concerned with global issues, with the hate speech, but hey, if it's against your political, geopolitical enemies, then, have at it. Have at it. But this ad actually came out before that announcement was even made. Enter me.personality insights. This is an ad, a sponsored ad on Facebook, right, with some very interesting social engineering here. Each country may have its own unique traits, behaviors, and attitudes. How often do they match the national stereotypes? And the American stereotype is, of course, a pink-haired BIPOC woman, right? A very relatively dark-skinned, amorphous, racially ambiguous woman. Pink hair. You don't know she could be a Latina. She could be a First Nations, right? Or a Native American. She could be Native American, Latina. She could be a Native American, Latina, BIPOC, LGBTQI plus maps. She could be any of these. And some of those main traits that you would associate with them, right? The national stereotypes, which now all of a sudden these are good, right? The national stereotypes are good when you accept the stereotypes that the regime wants you to accept. So this, racially ambiguous, deracinated American woman is, she's tolerant, right? Her traits are tolerance, multiculturalism, diversity, generosity, innovation, opportunity, independence, and equality. All right, so this is whoa, bro. I see how many buzzwords you can smash into one, and then you have the Canadian. Look at the Canadian. We got a hot little tube-topped, dark-skinned Canadian woman. Her skin's looking a little bit rojo, a little bit red, right? She could be a First Nation. She could be half Puerto Rican, half First Nations, Latina immigrant. But as a Canadian, the stereotypes are do-gooder. Do-gooders, politeness, smile, smile, respect for different cultures, safety, tolerance, and justice. Wow. I mean, those are, with a leader like Justin Trudeau, I mean, this is exactly what you would expect. I mean, this is just fully in line with reality, right? And then we've got the British man, dark skin, right, of African descent, of course, wearing that lovely British flag dashiki, traditional African British garb here, and his stereotypes are friendliness, conservatism, agreeableness, conscientiousness, openness, sociability, enthusiasm, and erudition. Right now, I don't know if I were to make these, we might have a little bit of a different layout, right? For the Canadian, for instance, we might have a 350-pound Torontoite, right? A 350-pound white male who identifies as a woman, right? Maybe with some furry ears. Hey, throw on a Ukrainian flag shirt on that Torontoite, and he will be perched in his coom chair, slapsticking away on Reddit, right? That would be my Canadian. And then the main traits. What would the main traits for the Canadian be? Probably be different than do-gooders, polite, smiley. I would say it might slightly vary, but we've got our Londonite. Oh yeah, I forgot to turn that off. Thanks. We've got our London-dwelling, multicultural BIPOC, native Londoner here. He's friendly, conservatism, not a conservative, conservatism, right? Probably more in line with sustainable development type conservatism, agreeableness, conscientiousness, openness, sociability, enthusiasm, and erudition. Yeah, that's. But then, well, we've got the fourth one. He's got a Russian flag on his shirt there. He's got a big old beard, looking a little bit toxic masculinity, if you ask me. He's got that military color shirt, right? Military fatigue colored button-up shirt, looking mighty regimented, militaristic, and I might add a little bit overly beardy, if you ask me, right? Perhaps a little bit toxically masculine levels of testosterone over here. I mean, he's looking like he's chalked up, looking like he's been using that chalk.com big 50 coupon code getting those hormones straightened up, looking like he's possibly a seed oil disrespecter, perhaps a seed oil hater, right? But what are the traits that this Facebook ad gives this young man with Russian origin? Well, let's go through that. It's aggression, manipulation, toxicity, pressure, self-centered, negative, immorality, and violence. That's the inner me personality insights. This is how lovely. How lovely. um Yeah, I don't know about this one. I don't know about this one, but Facebook allows these ads. Facebook allows these ads. How nice of them. How nice of them. We've got the new simp army, the new regime simp subject of that is currently being exploited, and that is the horrible thing that's happening over in Ukraine, right? I mean, this is something that absolutely nobody wishes would have happened, that would be happening. But it sure seems like the Western bloc powers are frothing at the mouth to use this as a wedge issue to not only destroy the economies of the countries in the West, right? The economies of their own countries, but also to possibly get them unraveled in a war, a very difficult, possibly unwinnable war against Russia. But but the furries are down for Zelensky. We've got the brave furries, the BLM furries are 100% on board. BLM furries, I don't know what that flag is. Is that like the MAPS flag? I don't know which flag that is, but the furries, they're down for it. They're good with they're down with Zelensky. And I'm sure these our furry friends over here are also down with Facebook's recent admission that it's okay to now hate speech on the Russians, right? It's okay. Y'all want to get out there, start punching Russians. Facebook thinks that's just a great idea. Facebook thinks that's a fantastic idea. So we're going to be getting deeper into the Russia and Ukraine madness today. Talking World War III's, the Reddit brigades, Reddit army up in the Ukraine, the Metaverse, mass media, and human sacrifice, right? So, I mean, the world has just gone full clown mode, but we got to bring it back and kind of bring this down to earth and maintain a level of sobriety when analyzing any of this stuff, because what we're dealing with here is sick. What we're dealing with here is twisted. What we're dealing with here is a total attack on humanity itself. Right? Man being made in the image and likeness of God. Man being made in the image and likeness of God, but duped into destroying the image and likeness of God in himself and in other people. And when we destroy it, when we dehumanize others, we dehumanize ourselves. Right? So Biden calling out Putin, Biden, everybody who be riding with Biden these days, riding with Biden and hating on Putin. You got the fake left and the fake right in the US, both on board, just like every major agenda, right? The fake left and the fake right are just in lockstep and in unison, with one voice, with one spirit, calling for persecution of Russians, hatred of Russians, and war. Right? Putin is the new boogeyman. But this is a really interesting clip that I think it's important to analyze before we get deeper into the Russia stuff, the Russia stuff, a lot of it might have to wait till later on. We might get in some territory that YouTube's not going to be very happy with. Of course, we always stay well within the terms of service and whatnot, but you know how YouTube is. 1997. Here is Joseph R. Biden the leader of the free world, right? The leader of the free world, Joseph R. Biden, most popular man in America, the most popular man in the world, right? Greatest United States president ever. Excuse the squeaking of the chair. Don't let that annoy you. I need to oil this thing. Here is in 1997.
I think the one place where the greatest consternation will be caused in the short term for admission, having nothing to do with the merit and preparedness of the country to come in, would be to admit the Baltic states now in terms of NATO-Russian, U.S.-Russian relations. And if there was ever anything that was going to tip the balance, were it to be tipped in terms of a vigorous and hostile reaction, I don't mean military, in Russia, it would be that. So the way I look at the calculus here.
All right, so back in 1997, Joe Biden understood that the only thing that would provoke an aggressive Russian stance towards NATO and make Russia behave vigorous and hostile towards NATO would be if NATO expanded as far as the Baltic states, which, what's happened since then? Well, it has. Well, it has. So we got Joe Biden before the Alzheimer's, acknowledging the truth here. I think that's a fascinating clip. That's important to remember. Very important to remember, because also Joe Biden is oops, where'd that go? Joe Biden currently blaming the gas prices that are rapidly approaching $10 a gallon, which, isn't it funny, on that tweet that I made in the very beginning of all this stuff. I don't have it pulled up right now, and it's way back a few days ago, way back, I think it was 3 weeks ago when this all started. I made this tweet thread. It was kind of a joke tweet thread, but there was a lot of truth in it. That gas prices going to $10 would help to fight Putin, right? So we need to fight Putin. We need to fight the evil Ruskies and the mean, bad Russians by all having a global digital ID and moving into smart cities, eating the kibble, and paying $10 for gas. And that will help fight Russia. All right, so all these sanctions that are being enacted by the U.S., of course, are hurting people in the U.S. All right, they're working on fomenting this food crisis, which we talked about last stream. We talked about last week the food prices that are going to get insane due to the price of oil, due to the price of gasoline. We talked about the engineered food crisis that is coming due to the lack of fertilizer, which is happening long before this conflict began. Now, of course, the lack of fertilizer, we talked about this a few months ago. The lack of fertilizer, that nitrogen that's used for fertilizer, is also used in the production of explosives. So the ramp up to the war very likely did have a lot to do with the fertilizer prices. But unfortunately, it's not Russia who's going to pay for this. It's not Putin that's paying for this. This is not Putin's gas price hike. This is gas price hike that you're all going to pay for. We're all going to pay for this. And here's what Biden had to say about this the other day. He was asked about gas prices, right? I don't know if you guys can hear this. The audio is terrible.
Gonna go up. Can't do much right now. Russia's impossible.
Gonna go up. Can't do much right now. Russia's responsible. This dude is.
Gonna go up. Can't do much right now. Russia's impossible.
Okay. Oh, Mr. Biden. Russia's responsible. So, Russia's responsible. We got a fertilizer shortage. Of course, all these fertilizers, the reliance on these fertilizers, the reliance on heavy chemical inputs for agriculture is something we've been talking about for years here. Something that the West should have never made itself reliant on, but it's something that's highly profitable for certain global corporations who make tons of money off of this allegedly highly efficient food production system, which is much less efficient than they actually claim it is, right? They claim that in the name of efficiency, we're going to have to get all these GMOs and use this heavy chemical input, fertilizer heavy, till intensive monocrop agriculture system. And this agriculture system has destroyed the topsoil. And then the same people that destroyed the topsoil are saying, well, you're all just going to have to do with less fertilizer. We're just going to have to grow less food, and we're going to have to raise the price of food so y'all can starve. Right? So this reliance on chemical fertilizer is ridiculous because you don't need it at all. If animals were still integrated into plant production, if you had integrated farms that use animals, right, and engage in animal husbandry, you have a huge supply of manure. Right? The way that they've created this feedlot system as well, where you have a dearth of manure being created in these feedlots and not even being used to fertilize soil, is completely ridiculous. And then they blame the cows, right, for this for the manure runoff that you get from these CAFO feedlot systems, right? This confined feeding operations where they're feeding them a bunch of GMO grain. They blame the runoff and the pollution from that on the cows, when it's the management of the livestock that is the problem. Right? Properly managed livestock, especially ruminant animals, are crucial for building good soil. Right? Soil health depends on animal input. So, anyways, this is why we're always saying we need to be promoting and supporting local food production. Y'all got to be supporting your local farmers. Get in touch with your local farmers. Doesn't mean you got to produce your own food. Not everybody's going to be able to do that. Most people don't want to do that. But you can at least support local producers who are doing it. Local producers who can give you locally raised foods very often at a far better price than you're going to get it at the supermarket. Right? So websites like eatwild.com, realmilk.com, getting in touch with local producers and focusing on good quality, locally raised foods. This is an antidote to all of this. Right? We can build resilient food distribution networks locally and not be dependent on intensive chemical agriculture that has consolidated the food supply globally. That's what we got to do. Right? We wouldn't need all this fertilizer. You wouldn't need all this fertilizer if you were using animals properly. Right? This is why the way that we run what we got going here, right now, we're not like a large farm or anything. It's not like we're feeding tons of people. We have a small amount of land that we manage, and we rent land close by. Right, but we are using proper grazing techniques and intensive grazing techniques, mobile electric fencing, and what's called regenerative agriculture. Intensive grazing is another one of the keywords that you can learn a little bit more about this, to improve the soil quality, deposit more carbon and more live bacteria from the ruminant's rumen, right, into the soil, and then producing milk, which produces carbohydrate, fat, and protein that is very edible, digestible, and beneficial to humans, while improving the soil quality to produce more meat and milk from that soil. Now, this is why we use chickens, ducks, pigs, sheep, and cattle in an integrated system to fertilize the foods that we grow here. Most of that food which goes back into the animals, right? We make our own fertilizer here and then can fertilize perennial grasses that we can then use for silage and storable food for the animals to use in the summertime. Right? And this is very little input from the outside. Right? The only real input for as far as food goes from the outside is salt for the animals here. We give mineral salt to the ruminants, and then that mineral salt goes through their rumen, right? And then in that in that manure that's deposited into the ground, there is more minerals. So you're actually mineralizing the soil, right? So we are improving the soil, and we've at least more than doubled the grass production on the land that we've been managing for the last 2.5 years. And we still haven't even figured out what the maximum capacity is for the land, what the maximum stocking rate would be for the land when properly managed. And that's going to change every year. And, again, I'm not an expert on this. I'm learning as I go. But you can create a heck of a lot more food. You can grow a heck of a lot more food on small amounts of land with zero chemical fertilizer input if you properly manage ruminant animals. All right, but of course, all of us are dependent on fuel. We all got to use gasoline. Every single one of us must use gas, unfortunately. And the prices of gas going up will affect all of us, will affect all the food prices and everything. And the U.S. doesn't need to be dependent on fuel from Russia in the first place. The U.S. never needed to be dependent on that. All right, so moving on here. Let's see. So yeah, thank you, Dr. Joe Biden. Genius, fearless leader of the United States of America, Joseph R. Biden. It's Putin's fault, y'all. It's Putin's fault. Your gas prices are, tripling, quadrupling the last couple years. But it's all Putin's fault, man. It's not the massive inflation that's been increasing over the last few months and becoming more and more visible that they first said didn't exist. Then they said it's minimal and transient. Then they said, well, that's a good thing. Inflation's making it so that single moms can no longer afford to feed their children. Why, that's a good thing. By Greta Thunberg. It's like this is just the gaslighting. The gaslights are getting turned up. They're getting turned up day by day. And it's affecting people's lives. It's affecting our ability to feed our families, our ability to move freely, our ability to just afford rent, to afford to be able to heat our homes. All right, but the weaponized mass media, the completely insane weaponized mass media, they're going to gaslight you into thinking it's a good thing, it's normal, it's not even happening. Shut up. Shut your mouth. Go buy some military LARP fatigues off Amazon.com. Buy yourself a ticket to Ukraine and go fight the evil Russians, because they're the ones who are doing this to you. Right? It's the Russians. Right? Move to your Ukrainian smart city. And get ready to die for Zelensky regime, the ineffectual puppet government of Zelensky. Get ready to die for that. If you're a real patriot. All right, so you got the New York Post. Want to go fight in Ukraine? Here's how to apply. Here's how to apply. This is complete insanity. Ukraine launched a website Saturday where foreigners can apply directly if they want to go to Ukraine and fight against Russian invaders. President Volodymyr Zelensky says the country received thousands of applications since he put out the call for a new self-styled International Legion on February 27th, and he's expecting more than 16,000 foreign volunteers to join the cause. 16,000 foreign volunteers. I don't know if this is... that's an insane amount of people signing up to just go die for Ukraine. Here's their website. Slick website, right? Oh, look at big Russia, big red Russia, bullying little yellow Ukraine. Oh, you guys want to fight bullies? This is the propaganda. I'm speechless. I'm freaking dumbfounded at how weaponized our entire culture is. All right, now, I don't know if you guys remember, my fellow my fellow born in the late 1980s Americans, especially if you were in the public school system, if you were so unfortunate to have been in the public school system as I was. Now I made a lot of friends in the public schools. I had some cool teachers, but you know, you know how it goes. The public school system is a giant social engineering meat grinder, right? It's not designed to educate you. It is designed to break you. Designed to break you, to form your psyche, to destroy any remnant of traditional culture left and assimilate you into a globally integrated meat grinder economy, right? To turn you into a redditor, a full-time redditor. And this just looking at this website and like this bullying thing. You guys remember back in like public school in like 7th, 8th grade? And I was in 8th grade. It would have been like 1999, no, 2000, right? So 2001. I was in 9th grade when the 11th of the 9th month of the year event happened. So this would have been around like 99, 2000. It really started ramping up this stuff about bullying. Right? Remember you had the Columbine incident, which was very, very, very sketchy, interesting. You know, some doped up pharmaceutical zombied children who had parents with military intelligence and FBI connections, and a very odd psychiatrist that was prescribing them drugs that are known to cause suicidal ideation and violent thoughts. That event really changed the way that schools ran, and they began to turn the schools into basically pre-prisons, right? Like the public school in the United States is, you got preschool and then K through 12, but they're all just actually pre-prison, right? They all just teach you to be a good little prisoner, right? Pavlovian training to stand and sit when the bell rings. Now, of course, there's nothing wrong with discipline. There's nothing wrong. We should have discipline. We should teach our children discipline. We should teach our children obedience, but in the right way, right? Now, this is training us to obedience and subverting this obedience that we should have towards God, right? This obedience that we should have to God. Subverting that and turning your God into this administrative bureaucracy. All right, but do you remember all the bullying propaganda that started coming out after the Columbine stuff? Columbine, in the mythologized reasons for the Columbine thing it was because of bullying, right? Like all these kids, they got bullied. The kids got bullied, and therefore Columbine happened. So we got to fight bullying and make sure kids aren't bullied, and we're not going to get incidents like this happening anymore. And of course, the incidents continued and are used to justify further clampdowns on people's ability to own certain objects, use certain objects. You know what I mean? Certain objects that Zelensky's been handing out, automatic objects that they've been handing out to civilians, telling them to fight the Russians with. But they had all this bullying propaganda, right? All this, like, the biggest problem in the world is bullying. It was such a weird thing because just looking at the social dynamic when I was in, elementary school, middle school, high school, bullies would get sorted out, and there wasn't this huge problem of so-called bullying, right? I'm not saying that there's no such thing as bullying or anything like that. We've got a very demonic culture right now, and people can behave like, when you watch chickens, right? People can behave like beasts, and we get programmed to behave like beasts by this demonic pop culture. But you watch like chickens, and if there's a chicken that's weak, if there's a hen and she has a little brood of chicks, and one of those chicks is very weak, that hen, right, the mother, will peck to death the chick very often, depending on the hen, right? There's some that are better mothers than others, but we had one that kept on pecking her hens to her chicks to death. We had to cull her because she was killing her chicks. She was a terrible mother. She was like, screw you. You don't get to eat. I'm going to peck your eyes out and eat your eyes. This is like brutal, right? It's animalistic. And people can be programmed to behave that way. But I didn't see this, this insane bullying that the media, and then also at the time in the 90s, late 90s, early 2000s, that the school system was programming us to think is such a big deal. Right now, this bully program, this victim mentality of identifying as a victim of bullying. Anybody who says anything about me that I don't like is a bully. Anybody who calls me out on my bullshit, they're just bullying me. This is kind of the mind state that gets instilled in a lot of people when they're programmed like this, right? This perpetual victim mentality, and then they project this bully archetype onto everything, right? The world's a bully. My dad's a bully. My stepdad's a bully. Everybody who disagrees with me is a bully. And now the biggest bully is clearly Vladimir Putin. Vladimir Putin. It's like this infantilized, oh, you see all these posts like P-O-O-tin. Look at Putin. Poop-tin. It's like this childish infantilization and permanent identification of a twisted psyche that's been instilled in an entire generation of millennials. And I don't know what's up with Gen Z. I don't know what kind of propaganda they had to deal with. I mean, they had like the same, but then amplified to the extreme with all the LGBTQ nonsense. They started that in my generation, but they amped it up the next generation. So everybody's, the downtrodden bully, and anybody, and also, right, everybody that's on our team is the downtrodden victim, rather, right? Everybody who's the good guys are the downtrodden victim, and then whoever the system wants to say is the bad guy is the big mean bully, right? Saddam Hussein, the big mean bully, right? Throwing babies out of the incubators as the famous fake UN the fake UN, that wasn't the Security Council, it was some conference where this little girl was throwing the babies out of the incubator, they were smashing them on the ground, and it was a lie. It was a lie. She was coached by a PR firm. She was an actress. And she was related to the ambassador to Iraq at the time. I mean, it was all nonsense. That you've been programmed that in your mind, you are this poor, oppressed, helpless little baby, and the system is going to stop the big bully. And the big bully is whoever the system says is the bad guy at the time. Putin's a bad dude. The anti-vaxxers, anti-maskers, people who won't listen to the science. They're the bullies. They bully Trump. Trump's a bully. Anyone the system doesn't like is a freaking bully. All right, I'm sorry for that rant, but I had to. Let's just look. We got big red Russia and little poor yellow Ukraine. Big red mean Russia, the Ruskies, the Red Army, the commies attacking little freedom. Poor little Gomorrah over here. Poor little Gomorrah. Poor little Sodom. All right. So, anyways, that's the website. President Zelensky saying, "Hey, come, guys. Look at this. You'll get guns. It's gonna be like freaking Call of Duty, y'all. All those good times you spent in your childhood playing Call of Duty all dang day, doing nothing with your life. Guess what, guys? It paid off because you can go fight for Zelensky in a country that you couldn't even locate on a map a few months ago, and probably still can't even locate on a map, that you have no idea anything about the history of the people that live there, the cultural, religious, and sociological history. You have no idea anything about this country, but you've been given this image of little actor, comedian Zelensky fighting big, mean, bad, evil Putler. And you're going to join the International Legion, you guys. In many ways, Ukraine's International Legion harkens back to the International Brigades, the storied volunteer formations fighting for the Republican government during the Spanish Civil War in 1936 to 1938, the Kiev Independent reported Saturday. Basically, you guys are going to be just like the International Brigades fighting for the Republican government during the Spanish Civil War that you also know nothing about. It's like, it's going to be tremendous. It's going to be tremendous. The Legion will become part of the country's territorial defense force, a newly established branch of the armed forces. The Legion will start with two newly formed battalions. So they're essentially making a call to all decadent, dumbed down, Call of Duty playing millennials and Gen Z, right? All decadent, dumbed down Westerners, come die for Ukraine, right? And you're going to be the new Al Qaeda. Y'all going to be the white Al Qaeda in Ukraine. Y'all going to be the white LGBTQI plus Al Qaeda. I mean, this is what they're working towards here. Is this armed, continual resistance? We will never surrender. Right? Zelensky urges foreign citizens to join Ukraine's fight against Russian aggression. Look at him here in this. Look at that. He's just calling shots here. He's a military commander. He knows exactly what's happening. I would say this Marvel Universe ridiculous version of reality that we're given. And we're supposed to believe this. We're supposed to believe that this is how the world works. It's just black and white. Zelensky, good guy. Right? Zelensky's the Avengers. Right? Putin is the bad guy. Putin is like literally Hitler, worse than literally Hitler. Right? Like Putin makes Hitler look like Stalin. And all these words just end up meaning nothing to anybody because the historical context is so muddied and muddled that words like Hitler, Stalin, Putin, they mean nothing. They've come to mean nothing to the average Westerner. They are simply they're dog whistles, if you will, to elicit emotional responses, to elicit irrational emotional responses. So we've got a fight for Zelensky. Zelensky's asking Westerners, come out here, right? We'll give you we'll give you T-shirts. Ukraine never surrenders. T-shirts for men, women, and BIPOCs. And Ukraine never surrenders hoodies, right? Get yourself a Ukraine never surrenders hoodie, or a hoodie without a hood. I don't even know what you call that. Sweatshirt. But it's all about you guys. You're going to be the hero. You are going to be the hero. You're going to go fight with the hot Ukrainian babes. These busty blonde, buxom vixens in Ukraine are just waiting for you to come save them and fight with them, right? They're waiting for you to come and save them, right? These hot blondes that they had 3 kids, but they sent those 3 kids away, picked up rifles. Come on, Reddit army, fly out to Ukraine, and you'll have hot blondes that you can fight for. You could protect them from the evil groping Putler, right? Putin's trying to break into Ukraine, trying to breach the walls of Ukraine, and come in there. And he's trying to grope all these ladies, and he didn't even ask permission, right? Maybe if a nice Westerner, maybe if a nice American who perhaps enjoys posting on Reddit forums, right? Who perhaps enjoys posting links to his favorite OnlyFans girls on Reddit forums in exchange for perhaps some more pictures from their favorite OnlyFans girls in exchange for their shilling for their OnlyFans girls. Perhaps you could go, right, to protect them, and maybe if you ask nicely, they would let you grope them. This is the subconscious thought processes that they're preying on, right? And it's all just preying on the passions. It's all just preying on dumb, horny losers, right? This is what they want you to feel like: a lonely, isolated coomer gamer. That's what they want you. Right now, I'm not hating on gamers. I know that we got some people who enjoy playing the video games, watching the y'all like playing your. I know some of you like playing your Nintendo 69s, your Nintendo 68 and a halves or whatever. Some of y'all like playing your Atari Genesis machines. I know some of y'all like playing your Mario Kong on your Atari Genesis. Okay, I know you like that. I know you like it. But they want you to be. They want you to live in that metaverse reality. They want your whole mind to be your whole being, physically, mentally, and even spiritually, to be wired in to this alternate reality where you could just be catcalled to Ukraine to literally become a human sacrifice victim for a puppet government, to fight people who you would never want to harm or kill if you weren't completely brainwashed by weaponized media and propaganda and a cradle-to-grave system of an assembly line culture for automatons that we've been essentially raised in. All right, I'm ranting, and raving. I'm fired up. We got big shout out to everybody who's watching on YouTube. Y'all on YouTube, thank you guys for sharing the videos. Make sure to share the videos if you have not already. Share the videos, like the videos. YouTube don't like sharing these videos. YouTube does not like letting these videos in the algorithm. And if you want to be notified about upcoming videos, if you're watching on YouTube or on Rockfin, make sure to click on the link in the description over there on YouTube. Actually, I got to put this in Rockfin description as well. You can click on the link in the description to get notified for upcoming streams. You want to get notified about upcoming streams, upcoming events? We will send you an email. We will personally send you an email where YouTube will definitely not notify you. But if you're over there on Rockfin, guess what? There is no censorship, but they don't have a notification system, right? There is not censorship. There is not an algorithm that forces you to only see in your feed what Susan Wojcicki wants you to see in your feed. Susan Wojcicki, whose sister owns 23andMe, a company that's collecting everybody's genetic data. Just complete insanity. There we go. It's in the descriptions there. Make sure you guys, if you're watching on YouTube or if you're watching on Rockfin, you want to get notified about streams, hit us up on this link right here. All right, we're going to be going over to Rockfin exclusively in a little bit. We got about half the viewership on Rockfin as we do on YouTube. Shout out to all the Rockfinners. Shout out to the YouTubers. Everybody up on YouTube, everyone up on Rockfin. Thank you guys for watching. So, yeah, this is the times. As the Russians advanced, she sent her 3 children away. Now, at Lesia Vasilenko has taken up a rifle. Lesia Vasilenko, the Ukrainian MP who says she'll shoot to kill. And then they have these pictures of her just, looking all cute in her fur coat and whatnot. When Vasilenko was given a gun to defend herself and her country against the Russian army, she realized that she would have to cut off her beautiful long fingernails. That was a tragedy for me because I have been fighting for 34 years the habit of biting my nails. I was so proud that I was finally able to kick that habit and grow my nails. And then the universe says no to you through Vladimir Putin, who decides to attack your country. And then you have to pick up a gun. And in order to be able to use it, you have to cut your nails. Oh my goodness, the universe. Isn't it just amazing how the universe works? It's like the universe. This has to be written by some white chick in London. There's no way this is written that quote is real. There's absolutely no way. This is propaganda. Right? Oh, I had this nervous habit of biting my nails. I was just so helpless. My nervous habit of biting my nails, just sitting around with my 3 children. I couldn't wait to get rid of them and pick up a gun and fight for Ukraine. I just wish more Redditors from America. I wish more 230-pound, 5'2" Redditors would come and help to comfort me because I'm so nervous biting my nails all the time, waiting for Putin to invade. And I had to cut my nails. I liked having nails, but now my nails are short, so I could give massages to any Foreign Legion Reddit Brigade members who happen to come out here and fight for me. This is written by some like white chick who lists her mental illnesses in her Twitter profile. This is written by some white bitch in Toronto with purple streaks in her hair who has PTSD and 3 different variations of PTSD listed in her Twitter bio. There's no way this is written by this chick. All right, anyways, we got some tips over here on Rockfin. Let me read some of these, you guys. If you have questions, comments you want read, if you just want to support the stream, feel free to drop them tips over there. Stakeholder dropping a tip for $5. Didn't even say anything. Stakeholder's a regular tipper. Stakeholder is much appreciated. And that's stakeholder, not in the Klaus Schwab, not Klaus Booty Schwab stakeholder, but a stakeholder. Beholding them ribeye steaks, stakeholder. We got a lot of Orthodox watching right now. I know. Got a lot of our Orthodox friends in Lent right now, and stakeholder be teasing all the Orthodox out here with that steak in the avatar there. ELC dropping $5, and that's because it's Great Lent. Orthodox don't be eating the steaks in Great Lent. ELC tipped $5 and says, "I love that the Black British guy has conservatism on there." Yeah, exactly. This is the conservatism that they want you to think is conservatism, right? That's their version of conservatism. Is a I'm gonna shift that Overton window as much as possible. ELC tipping another $5. Dude, ELC, thank you very much. Says, "I'm the top junior staffer for the Young Tories Inclusion and Diversity Group. I'm putting together the briefing package for our trip to the World Economic Forum's Environmental Symposium." Yeah, that's from and by the way, I'm a conservative. I'm a top junior staffer for the Young Tories, fighting for environmental sustainability and equity. Digital inclusion as well. We want digital inclusion for all the BIPOCs in Ukraine. All the BIPOPs and the Funko Pops in Ukraine. ELC tipping $5 says, "Biden and company only talked like this when the alcoholic Western puppet Yeltsin was in power. I think at that time, and even during Putin's first term, there was talk of incorporating Russia itself into NATO eventually." Yeah, exactly. That nobody hated Putin until Putin stopped... until they realized he wasn't playing ball in the way they'd like to play ball. ELC tip, and I'm not saying that like here's the thing for any of you watching who for all my fellow public school attendees, my fellow public school victims, because you criticize Biden and criticize the propaganda coming out of Reddit land does not mean they use a shield for Putin. All right, now you can appreciate certain things that certain people do. You can appreciate certain things that Trump did without being a Trump lover, a Trumper. You can dislike things that Trump did without being a commie lefty. So we there's an allowance for nuance in evaluation of geopolitics. This is not just the good guys versus the bad guys situation. So yeah, it's just retarded. We even have to say that, but we do. ELC tipping $5 again says, "I wonder how long it'll take before we see some cool, edgy Bernie bro podcasters showing up in Ukraine the way this guy went to Syria and got profiled in Rolling Stones." Oh man. And he dropped this link. Well, yeah, this is where we're going next. We are gonna check out, and we don't have any Bernie bros yet. But look, oh dude, look at Sean Penn Jr. This dude looks like this kid I went to college with. That's funny. The anarchists versus the Islamic State on the front lines of Syria with the young American radicals fighting ISIS, who were armed and created by America. Yeah, dude, that's hilarious. Thanks, ELC. Appreciate that one. Says, to be fair, to Brace Belden, the guy from the article in my last tip, he did end up getting woke in the way his old handlers didn't want him to. Started talking about Epstein, NATO's role in starting Ukraine, and other interesting topics. Probably why Rolling Stone hasn't had him back. They'll want more controllable poster boys this time, no doubt. Thank you very much. And Kiki Hiri tipping $5. You guys are awesome over on Rockfin. You guys make sure to drop those tips. Remember, those tips are actually going to go directly towards new Xbox controllers for Redditors. We will be those tips will be given to directly to Zelensky. Thank you very much for dropping those in there, you guys. Make sure to support the stream over there on Rockfin. You can drop a tip. You got that. There's a little button up at the top of the stream. It says $2 tip. That's how you do it. And it's not just $2. You could do $2, $5, $10. I think 20, 50, and I think the max is still 100. Right? We had the other day. Shout out to our buddy the other day, the homie with the avatar of Chase was dropping $100 tips. That was awesome. We always gotta make sure some people. You gotta make sure that $100 tip option does work, because you will help fight. They'll be going directly to Sean Penn in the front lines of in Ukraine. No, I'm kidding. That you guys are our sponsors here. But then also, hey, shout out while we're talking about it. Shout out to our sponsors over at Chalk.com, CHOQ.com. Use that coupon code BIG50. Get yourself up on that Chalk Purified Shilajit. Boom, there it is. Purified Shilajit from Chalk. We were talking earlier about how depleted in minerals our soil is. That Chalk Shilajit, the main ingredient in that Chalk Shilajit, well, the only ingredient, the purified Shilajit, clinically proven to raise testosterone levels. I think it was, I had it written down, but it was ridiculous. What was that? I think it was 30% in the clinical trials that they did, which is that Shilajit uses the exact, that's it. In the daily, the exact dosage of the Shilajit that is in the Chalk daily over here was clinically studied to boost testosterone, total testosterone in healthy adult males by 21% in just 90 days. And that's the exact dose used in that study. Hit them up at chalk.com. De-soy yourself, right? These people are trying to get you to destroy yourself. You freaking blow yourself up over there in Ukraine for this war that shouldn't have ever happened. This war that should have never happened. It wouldn't have ever happened if it weren't for demonic external forces fooling us into this, which is how it always works, right? They get us to kill each other. They get us to destroy ourselves. They're trying to get you to destroy yourself. Chalk's over there trying to get you to de-soy yourself, right? You guys, yeah. And hey, and also, you know what? I'm going to drop this one. Hey, Putin. We know your IP, Putin. And Chalk.com, CHOQ.com. Chalk.com will not sell any chalk to Vladimir Putin. We don't need, you're already toxic masculine enough, Vladimir Putin, over there riding your bears like you're some sort of a manly man, abusing those poor bears. Think you're so cool, riding freaking grizzly bears, bareback, shirtless. You think you're such a badass? Well, guess what? No chalk for you, Vladimir Putin. Only for the audience members and for the Reddit Brigade out there who are going to use that code BIG50 and get 50% off store-wide. Store-wide, 50% off, or BIG53 Life, and you will get 53% off all subscriptions for life. Right? That's actually a better deal. I always forget to drop that code on you. That's over there at CHOQ.com. You can hit up Chalk.com and boost your health while it is still legal. All right. So here we go. Where'd that link go? I had a link for the chalk. I'm gonna drop it in the chat. All right, guys. It's about to get crazy. It's about to get buck wild. We're about to learn about the Reddit Brigade. We're about to learn about the Reddit Brigade, you guys. And this is heavy. Like, it's actually heavy. You know, it's ridiculous, it's clownish, it's absurd. But on an ultimate level, it's like, I don't know if this is like harming me to even think is ridiculous, and at a certain level, it's like, I don't know if this is harm. Is this harming my soul? Laughing at the ridiculousness of this propaganda, because while we can laugh at the ridiculousness of this propaganda and how absurd and insane it is, this propaganda is driving people to willingly sacrifice their lives. Right? This is driving people to pointlessly give up their lives for the most absurdly corrupt false government. Right? I don't even know. I don't know the answer to that. I'm thinking out loud. All right, so we here we go. The anarchists versus the Islamic State. I don't remember when this happened, but that is pretty crazy. I'll keep that link and I'll look at that a little bit later. We've got Reddit Brigades going to war. The Reddit Brigades are going to war. Where is that? I might have the wrong window pulled up. Excuse me. No, here it is. All right, so you got Biden signs $1.5 trillion spending bill with $14 billion for Ukraine aid. Here's what's in it. $14 billion. So sending $14 billion of aid for Ukraine to arm civilians, to arm foreign brigades, and to create this, what it seems like they want to do is create this new perpetual resistance against Putin, the evil Putin, with a consistent supply of money and military supplies. Yeah, and where is that going? $800 million in this assistance package that Biden also signed is going to 800 Stinger anti-aircraft system, 2,000 Javelins, 1,000 light anti-armor weapons, 6,000 AT-4 anti-armor systems, 100 tactical unmanned aerial systems, 100 grenade launchers, 5,000 rifles, 1,000 pistols, 400 machine guns, 400 shotguns, 20 million rounds of small arms ammunition, and grenade launcher and mortar rounds, 25,000 sets of body armor, and 25,000 helmets. But of course, we got to get rid of the guns in the U.S., right? We got to get rid of that in the U.S. Proud to be an American, or at least I know I'm free to go die for Ukraine, where my tax money's going to blow up little babies that didn't want to get blowed up by American weapons, because I'm free. And you get yourself a Ghost of Kiev t-shirt, get yourself one of these Ukraine strong t-shirts. All right, so you got the BBC encouraging civilians and training those civilians to throw Molotov cocktails at tanks. I mean, this is complete madness. And this dude, Bowen, BBC correspondent, what is he? The war correspondent, BBC Middle East editor. And of course, this man never fought a day in his life, but sure as heck will promote civilians turning themselves into human shields. Now you got the BBC promoting this, the US funding this, and Reddit is on it. You got the r/volunteers for Ukraine, which is this endless puddle of filth, and a lot of it seems like it might even be trolls. Like it's hard to tell what's a troll and what's not a troll, right? The satire and reality has become satire. Reality has effectively become satire. You got 28, 5'4", 200 pounds, and going to teach hand-to-hand combat for free. I have 8 years experience in Tai Chi and Kung Fu. I would be more than happy to teach for free to both soldiers and civilians if I was provided basic necessities such as food, water, and shelter for free. However, I can't get a hold of my nearest embassy. Do you think they would be happy to accept this? I would devote my whole time to teaching so people would grasp the basics fairly quickly, I believe. There's another one. Dark Cell Aurelius. Combat vet here. I arrived in Poland and made my way to Ukraine. I found the Legion. They wanted 3 years of my service. That was too much time for me to commit. I'm heading back now. Just letting others on here know what they're asking for. Real talk. Know what they are requiring to enlist. That can't be a picture. That's not a picture in Ukraine. Maybe somebody pasted that picture over. I don't know. Some of these seem like they're not like they aren't even real. Some of these seem like they're just straight trolls. But then some of these seem very real. Okay, so this guy, this is one of the weirdest ones. Redditor goes to fight for Ukraine, gets the Polish border, sees guys with neck tattoos, remembers parents are sick, turns around and goes home. I'm going to read a little excerpt of this. Now, this seems real. The profile that posted this, basically, the only other post from them, it was over a year old, the profile. The only other posts from that profile were like weird posts on OnlyFans girls' pages. It's very Reddit, right? Super Reddit tier. Here we go. Please consider why I turned around at the border. Recruitment system is still being worked on. Only join via official channels. Slava Ukraini. Before anyone starts to flame me or say I'm lying, please read through the text. Since this is the story of why I turned around at the border and lessons learned. If my situation was different, I would still go. I have been traveling for some days now with little sleep, so don't expect a neatly presented essay. Story starts out with that I wanted to help the people of Ukraine and still do. I have plenty of combat experience in history and emergency care and security work. So I'm guessing this is a, you got a mall security guard here who his emergency care was probably being taken in an ambulance for being in a diabetic coma from eating too many Krispy Kremes. Says I jumped out of my car, and after a day of driving, I end up in Poland, where I could find a general consulate and assist me in joining the army. After going through my papers, passport, and military records, I got a contact number to a recruitment officer on the other side of the border in Ukraine. At the same place, I found a new friend from Belarus that wanted to join, since he escaped the dictator state of Belarus and is now living in another European country. No one at this point speaks English, but we get by quite nicely with Google Translate. Again, that detail of like you don't speak the language at all, and you're just getting by with Google Translate. So the cyborgization, this metaverseization, and surveillance stateization of every aspect of life gotta be there. Next goal was to link up with our contact in Ukraine, where we had to go ourselves. Luckily, my new friend had a taxi driver friend that took us from the border to the border for free. My car is still parked somewhere in Poland. Later, we meet up with 2 other Belarusians with a similar story and wanted to fight injustice. After a long wait, we finally got contacted by our link to cross the border. After dodging tons of press, thank God for Corona face masks, we finally were supposed to enter Ukraine, but my new friends were not allowed since they came from Belarus and were denied at the border since their blood was from Belarus. Do note we got denied entry even with a military serviceman waiting for us the other side of the control. Additionally, they told us we were the first to join via those means, as the recruitment process was not used yet. Okay, so next slide. Slava Ukraini. Reddit Brigade. I mean, it seems very real so far, right? There's no red flags that this is a troll. Like, there's no weird punchlines or like, there's no over the top details that would indicate that this is definitely someone trolling. None of that yet. But, so here we go. All right. We were told to wait at a hotel until they would give us a call from internal security. However, when they called back, I was the only one that could go since I'm not from Belarus. But for me to go alone into military camp and sign a contract I have never seen in Ukraine. Additionally, I don't know any Polish, Russian, or Ukrainian, but seems a bit risky by itself. But okay. The recruiter told me the contract was in English, but also that it lasted until the end of the war, whatever that means in technical terms. Now, this is a detail that we are seeing, that the volunteers are signing a contract and they are contractually obliged to remain in service as human meat shields until the end of the state of emergency. So these details do add up with what we've seen from a lot of other sources. This Reddit army, Reddit battalion volunteer seems to be probably, this seems to be real. However, I have sick parents. Oh, okay. So the recruiter told me the contract was in English, but also that it lasted until the end of the war, whatever that means in technical terms. However, I have sick parents and asked them if something happened to them, could I then leave? But that question our contact could not answer. Therefore, I chose to drop the project. Lessons learned / things to consider. If we were the first true volunteer for the Army, where are the rest I see post here? This is Reddit, of course. Don't expect a streamlined recruitment process since it's all new. While waiting to enter the country, we saw large numbers of paramilitary-dressed civilians and some military crossing the border. Where are those people going? After I investigated, I think some of them might end up in militia groups by accident. When, again, it's something we've seen. The cities throughout Ukraine seem to be run by militia groups who have no qualms about using human shields. Right? And some of the most horrific pieces of information we've seen coming from Ukraine, this is common practice among the Azov right sector types. Very alarming. All right, so continuing. Where'd that go? However, do note this is illegal. Some nations allow you to fight for another nation if you serve under the military only. All other forms of civilian militias can lead you to get trialed when you get home, and you are not protected by the Geneva Convention. And that's true. That is true. You end up risking ending up on a no-fly list, etc., etc. Don't do it, he says. Additionally, several of the people I saw had tattoos, which is by itself not an issue. But when there are civilians volunteering with skull tattoos on their neck and knuckle tattoos, some alarms should go off. Therefore, I would presume some of these people will go to right/left extremist groups who are known for extreme violence. This leads me to a warning. If joining, do it only through official way, the Ukrainian embassy consulates. If you end up with some extremist, where'd that go? There we go. If you end up with some extremist groups by accident, since you linked up with some strangers on the internet, it will have dire consequences for you later in life. Right now, I'm sitting a 5-minute walk from the border, waiting for transport home. I feel a bit like a coward for turning down my mission, but I simply can't ignore the fact that if my parents get worse, I will not be able to help them. And yes, this is not a random border. This is the border. Just drop me some questions if you want. I'm glad to help. Slava Ukraini. But I do like this is a great summary, though. Redditor goes to fight for Ukraine, gets the Polish border, sees guys with neck tattoos, remembers parents are sick, turns around and goes home. Reddit army, the Reddit army. But this person maybe seems like possibly had some sort of combat experience before. Didn't say he was a combat veteran, would have definitely said he was a combat veteran if he was. But the naivety of people, having no idea what could happen to their life, that they're basically giving their life up for a government that they have no idea of the history of the validity of. To me, it's sad. It's sad. These people are basically becoming straight up, they're willing human sacrifice victims. This is what's happening. The Reddit Brigade, the World War III Reddit Brigade. The Reddit LARP Brigade, the Metaverse Brigade, they're being sent out there to be meat shields. They're sent out there to be used as meat shields. All right, this is an unorganized military. Who's leading it? Y'all think Zelensky is leading it? All right, the tactics that we're seeing be used here. With that, you know what? Sometimes I forget we're still on YouTube. We're still on YouTube. We got a bunch of people over there on Rockfin. Got about twice the audience on YouTube as Rockfin right now. A little bit less than twice the audience on YouTube. We got some videos we're gonna watch. Somebody just mentioned the one video, which yeah, we did see that. Where is that one? Is this it? Yeah. we got this video we're gonna check out. We're gonna learn a little bit more about the Reddit Brigade, the insanity of what's happening. We're gonna explore this a little bit. Again, this is a horrible situation. This is a war that should have never happened. Right? I don't think there are any. There's not gonna be. This is not like a win situation for anybody involved at this point. Right? This is a horrific thing that people are dying for this. But what's so nuts to me, what's so sad to me, and what's like just cosmically torturously strange is the disconnect from reality, this metaverse reality that people believe is real. Right? I mean, people really think that they're going to fight for the Avengers and go stomp out fascism and the big mean Putin in Ukraine. Life has become so cheap. People's life has become so falsified that people are really throwing their life away for freaking Reddit upvotes, for looking cool on Reddit. I mean, this is crazy. All right, so you guys are watching on YouTube. Let me get the link for the Rockfin. Let me get that link for Rockfin over here in the YouTube chat. Get over there to Rockfin. It is free. You can watch for free over on Rockfin. We're gonna get a little. It's going hard. We're going hard, guys. We're going hard, and we're gonna see some crazy stuff. Unfortunately, the world's going full clown mode, full clown world, and but you know what? The world's going nuts. You don't have to go with it. We don't have to go with it. Shout out again. Last shout out to our sponsors, Chalk, CHOQ.com. Use that coupon code BIG50. Get up on that chalk. That Tomcat 100, the Tomcat extract. Super adaptogen, the highest quality adaptogens like that Tomcat Ali, that Tomcat 100 extract to help you balance your hormones, to help you to perform as you were designed to perform while it's still legal. Hit them up at chalk.com, CHOQ.com, and use that coupon code BIG50 or BIG53LIFE. That BIG50 coupon code will get you 50% off store-wide. That BIG53LIFE coupon code, BIG53LIFE coupon code will get you 53% off all subscriptions for life. You use that at checkout, and you will get them discounts. So, all right, guys, we're going over there to Rockfin. We're going to finish up the stream over there. Thank you guys for watching on YouTube. Share the videos, like the videos. YouTube will not share the video or like the video. Make sure to subscribe, hit the bell and all that stuff. And check if you did that in the past, YouTube very likely unsubscribed you and unbelled you, right? But we promise we don't do that. We will not unsubscribe you, but YouTube will. Link for Rockfin is in the chat and in the description. Ending the broadcast on YouTube. I'm going to stand up for a second and stretch. I'll be right back. And we'll see you over there on Rockfin where we're going crazy. We're getting deep in this freaking Reddit Brigade madness. And we're going to see some videos from the actual Reddit Brigade in Ukraine. Right? We're not going to watch anything graphic or anything like that, which there is a lot of stuff out there. It's things that I wish I hadn't seen. But we are going to explore what is really happening over there in this in the Reddit Brigade. Not in the metaverse, right? Not in the fake reality, Disney World reality. We're talking about real reality here. I'll see you guys over there. Be right back. All right, Bigot Brigade. Back. We're back. All right, the Red Brigade. Now we don't have to bite our tongue. Oops. Wait.